unemployment that comes from mental health issues that are not addressed but could be, that's really where that large number comes from.
Is it always the case that mental health, Professor Angela, is related to deprivation and poverty, you know, etc.? Is that why it's a bit rather on the rise, on the high in places like here in Ghana?
Well, mental illness is associated with poverty, mainly because a family or a person that has mental illness may gradually gravitate towards losing their job or not achieving their potential, and therefore eventually earn very little or no money at all. So there is an association with that, the drift towards poverty. But there are also more factors in poor communities that exacerbate mental illness or mental unwellness. A lot more negative life situations, if you like, and a lot more coping required to overcome these negative life events that may come more often in poor communities. So that's why there's the association with poverty.
So how does this public lecture, address some of these issues?
Well, the public lecture kind of presents all the work that we have done in this area. And one of the things it seeks to highlight is to let policy makers know that they neglect mental health, mental illness at their peril. And sometimes the only way to get attention for that is to say, look here, it's going to cost you so much if you don't put resources into mental health. And so we will be showing in our public lecture that when you address mental health needs, you actually may decrease the number of days lost to work. If for nothing else. And if you decrease the number of days people are out of work, you actually increase productivity. They're in work more often, they can produce more.
So is it just sheer coincidence that this lecture is coming at a time like this when we've seen quite a number of suicide cases in Ghana? Otherwise, my question would be, you know, does the worry people have about how we treat issues in Ghana, the firefighting approach instead of the prevention? So is it just sheer coincidence, or you actually thought, okay, maybe we should do this at this time?
Well, no, because we started this work years ago.
Well, it said it was a maiden lecture, so I thought.
For the Ghana Psychological Association, we usually have conferences, you know, at the university, but now we're coming out of the ivory tower into the public space.
I think there is another important piece to the conference, which is to try to shift the dialogue from, as you were saying, firefighting, where you treat mental illness only in the most extreme cases, and shift the dialogue to a public health approach to mental health, which can be done in the community, which can be done by lay people, which can be peers helping peers, affordable ways to really elevate people's mental well-being. Yeah.
Well, so why has the world not treated mental health with as much dedication and commitment as we should have seen? What are the challenges, and going forward, how do we surmount those challenges?
Why?
I like how you heaved a sigh.
Yes. I think over centuries, mental illness has been thought of negatively, or with a lot of stigma attached. So there is even a sense of not wanting to be involved in it, even with health ministries. That's changing in the advanced countries. But even there, I think there are complaints in mental health that not enough resources are. You know, so I think it's mainly the stigma.
Yeah, absolutely. And when a problem generates stigma instead of sympathy, it's difficult to summon resources and interest to fight it. Again, so then aren't you fighting a losing battle?
Well, so much of this is related to what the public discourse about mental health is. Such as yourself talking about it helps everybody understand that this is sort of a normal situation in life, that people become blue, they become in a situation where they don't feel as well as they could be, and that there are really hopeful ways to get through this. I think if we can start to tell the stories of hope with this, as opposed to disparaging and there's nothing you can do, First of all, that would be more accurate because there really is a lot of hope in this field. And I think it also would allow people to invest in it and therefore realize the benefits of really promoting mental health.
Thank you. So the lecture details, when is this holding?
Thursday.
Okay. Just tomorrow.
Just tomorrow at the British Council at 4:30.
Okay. Right. And you both are speakers?
Yes.
Any others?
Just the two of us, but we have a really charismatic chairperson, Mr. Yofi Grant.
What's the membership strength of the association, Ghana Psychological Association?
I think that it's probably between 80 and 100.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But is it free? Is it a ticketed event?
It's a free public lecture.
All right. Thank you so much. But it's not only for professionals, health professionals, is it?
No.
Any other interested person can attend.
Absolutely.
Like myself.
Yes, we're hoping many people will come, especially the psychologists, but many more. Many more in health, in public health, in economics. And so forth.
And thank you so much.
This really is the way other countries have started the momentum in getting mental health talked about broadly. And so I think this is an event that
so
we
already
hope
this is
many
replicated
people will come.
elsewhere.
Absolutely.
And we've seen progress in these countries.
Absolutely. In other countries that really begin to talk about mental health just the way you would talk about education or healthcare or any of the social sort of welfare of a country.
Then that's fantastic.
So,
Thank you so much. So, Professor Angela Foriata, University of Ghana School of Medicine and President, Ghana Psychological Association, has been my guest, as well as Professor Elizabeth Bradley, Yale School of Public Health and Director, the Yale Global Health Leadership Institute. So, it's the main public lecture, professionals interactive session. The theme is the well-being and economic growth, new frontiers in psychology, economics, and public health. Both are speakers at the lecture, and it's holding tomorrow at the British Council at 4:30 p.m. Yes, all right. So I will see you there.
Very well. That'd be nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now Thierry Nyan is standing by to bring us the latest in the world of sports. Of course, I heard about the good morning, Thierry, but I heard about the match fixing allegations leveled against Joe Lamte.
That's the reason why he was banned for life.
But he must have made a lot of money then.
A lot of mistakes, you would want to put it. A lot of mistakes.
But he couldn't be bothered, really, if you gave him a lifetime ban. If the allegations hold true,
but
and he was involved in match fixing, and of course, there was some gambling here and there, so he made lots and lots of money. Who cares if you give him a lifetime ban?
It depends on his career ambitions. It depends on what he wants to make of his life. If he wants to be remembered for the referee,
his reputation, really.
Exactly. If he wants to be remembered for the referee, as the referee who actually took money just so that he can sway results in favor of one side and not the other, or be a bit just in the game.
Would you care if you had millions of dollars? Would you really care what people will think about you, how you got it?
We are on TV.
Yes, we are. So be honest.
So I'll care. Anyway, so at 8 a.m., I'm going to be bringing you every bit of that particular story on Joseph Lamte and why he was banned by FIFA for life. But before then, there's this huge news that the Black Star shortlist, I'm talking about the coach for the Black Star, the shortlist has been reduced to just 3 men, including 1 Ghanaian and 2 foreign coaches. We will let you know who all of those are and what they will be giving Ghana. That is their profile as well. And at 8 a.m., you should also expect that if Ghana are looking to be hiring coaches, Ivory Coast have already taken the lead. Mark Wilmots, the former Belgium national team coach, has taken over the reins at Ivory Coast. We'll bring you the details of that. And then Real Madrid versus Barcelona, Manchester United versus Manchester City. These are top clashes in Europe. Big rivalries and derbies. In the Catalonia, of course, the El Clasico, and then a Manchester derby. But those 2 games are going to be played outside Spain and England for the first time in so many years. For Manchester United and Manchester City, it's the first time ever. So we'll let you know where that is and why. Chelsea fans, you can't also smile because your head coach, Antonio Conte, has already started the summer transfer business. He has signed or agreed a deal to sign France midfielder Bakayoko from AS Monaco. We'll let you know all of that and what it means for the club. And then also you can stay tuned for the rundown on how the South American qualifiers will go tomorrow. Remember, the likes of Brazil are already qualifying, but what is happening to Argentina and Colombia? We'll let you know all of that. Plus some NBA news. Steph Curry is very much in the thick of things for the Golden State Warriors as they won last night. What exactly will that mean? But of course, at 8 a.m., we'll let you know all of these and many more in the Sports Bulletin.
All right, thank you, Thierry Nyan. I wish I had a clue all that you talked about. It's like gibberish to me. I didn't get anything, but thank you, Thierry.
You're welcome.
We're taking a break now. We'll be back shortly. Do stay.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi education of an up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, Enapa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
I will do my daughter's farewell ritual.
By the way, that's a father's right.
What duties have you fulfilled as a father in 15 years that you're asking for rights?
Do you want to break the tradition?
You shattered my trust and ended our marriage. Can't I even break the tradition?
Dad, I have decided. You'll wear this for the rituals. This will match with mom's attire too.
It's lovely.
Divorce happens between husband and wife, not between parents.
Do Not Love Me So Much shows weekdays at 8 p.m. on TV3, and it's brought to you by Yamvita Onga, Malcolm, and supported by Unia 95.1 and 3FM 92.7 Accra.
Es encerrada en un mundo de cristal.
Venga para acá. Te ves guapísima.
¿Qué está haciendo?
No lo sé.
A young, beautiful, and wealthy woman falls for a hitman, but later realizes that the love of her life and her own family belong to one Mexican drug cartel.
Debo encontrar la salida. Él es el asesino de mi papá.
Miss Dynamite shows every Thursday and Friday at 9 p.m. right here on TV3.
Castlegate Estate Ghana Limited has evolved with new management and administration and positioned itself to serve you better. Seize this opportunity to do business with us by reserving a plot this year and start your own construction today. Castlegate Estate also has near complete or shell houses and serviced plots at prime locations on offer for sale at Katamanso, Tema Community 22 and 25 extensions, Dodoa and Prampram at very affordable prices. We dash you a whopping 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Right. All right. So you're welcome back to New Day. We're live from the studios of TV3. First in news, I like to say that it's so cliche. First in news, best in entertainment. Wake up, feel the sunshine. So Terry Nyan just left us with the latest from the world of sports, but Mr. Anthony Jackson is also standing by to give us the latest in the world of news in general. Hi, Mr. Jackson.
Hello, Moon. How you doing?
Terrific, thank you. I'm excellent and full of glory. It's cold, yeah. Oh, you're not a winter baby.
Not a winter baby. I don't know what
All
that
right.
is about. Anyway, it's time now for the news. And an Accra High Court has found former Executive Secretary of the Narcotics Control Board, NACOB, Akresi Sapon, guilty of contempt after he condemned the court for granting bail to drug suspects in an ongoing case. The presiding judge, Justice Charles Eko Baden, delivering his ruling, said Akresi Sapon's comments were meant to derogate the authority of the court.
The former NACOB boss, Akresi Sapon, openly disagreed with the court after it granted bail to one Chief Sani Ikechukwu Benji Eke, a 53-year-old businessman, and his alleged accomplice, James Elekechukwu, 47, a second-hand clothes dealer in Accra, were accused of smuggling cocaine into the country. The businessman was arrested and remanded in 2013 for allegedly attempting to smuggle 281,604 grams of liquid cocaine with a street value of over $12.5 million into the country. The drugs are said to have been concealed in a 40-footer container filled with 1,946 boxes of shampoo imported from Bolivia in South America to Ghana. But the NACOB boss, unhappy with the bail, is quoted as having said that the terms of the bail were very unfortunate because Chief Eke was known to have jumped bail in Brazil. The lawyers for the accused therefore proceeded to cite the former NACOB boss for contempt. The presiding judge, Justice Charles Edward Eko Baden, delivering his ruling, said Mr. Sapon's comments were meant to derogate the authority of the court that granted bail to the suspect. For his punishment, he is to sign a bond to be of good behavior or serve a 2-month jail term if he fails to do so. A reporter of the Daily Graphic who published the said interview from the former NACOB boss was also charged for contempt and fined 5,000 Cs.
Now let's head over to the Bonohafri region where the Kintampo waterfall storage site has been closed down indefinitely following Sunday's incident that claimed the lives of 19 people. Arts and Culture explained this is to allow for security checks and safety checks at the site while calling on the Ghana Tourism Authority to embark on a comprehensive safety audit of all major tourist sites in the country. The ministry also revealed that it will fast-track its request to Parliament for the passage of a legislative instrument that will enable the GTA to regulate and certify tourist sites. It further commended officials of the District Assembly, the medical staff of the Kintampo General Hospital, officials of the police, Army, Fire Service, RECSEC, and the youth of Kintampo for their swift response to the disaster. Minority in Parliament also made a similar call for a thorough safety audit at the various storage sites across the country. Now, 41 more police recruits have been sacked from the 5 police training schools for various offences. The recruits who were sacked for forging their certificates or impersonation are facing prosecution.
The decision to clean the police recruits began in December when about 15 of the recruits at the Palugu Police Training School in the Upper East region were sacked for using fake certificates. The administration then demanded full-scale scrutiny of their documents. The effort led to the identification of 41 more recruits who have all forged their entry certificates. The 41 include 22 from Palugu, 10 from Kumasi, 5 in Accra, and 2 each in Ho and Kofodia Police Training Schools. Some of the recruits were found to have changed either the grade, schools, or the names and photos of the certificates. Some males were found with female and female for male certificates. These came to light during scientific verification at the West African Examination Council.
we are going to continue to do that. You see, we realize that the process where we fixed everything at the initial stage led some people to go scot-free. But now we have spread it along the line of training so that we don't miss anybody. If this wheel misses you, the other one which is just following can miss you. So by the time we get to the end of your training, we would have ridden the system of all the undesirable characters. That is why we are getting this.
Director of Police Public Affairs Superintendent Sevas Arthur, however, disagreed with the suggestion that the entire batch of recruits be scrapped.
What is happening now was purposefully instituted along the recruitment process by the police administration themselves or itself to fish out for the bad nuts along the line to expel them. So it is something that was purposefully done and it is achieving its goal.
The culprits in Kumasi have already been sent to court and admitted to bail.
And the Advertising Association of Ghana has called on stakeholders to join in their quest to get the Advertising Standard Authority Bill passed into law. Speaking to TV3, President of the association, Joel Nettis, said the passage of the bill will bring sanity to the practice.
Advertising Association of Ghana, Joel Nettis, said the association has over the period played a key role in calling for the bill to be passed. He called on all players in the industry to get on board.
I'm happy to say, very proud to say as well, that the one body of all of these that has pushed this bill to where it is the Advertising Association of Ghana. We've gotten support from media houses, like we've gotten support from a few other bodies, but a lot of it, time, energy, resources, has been by the association. We're just reaching out now and saying that, look, everybody else who needs to play their part, please play your part and let's get this thing out of the way.
He was worried that non-members are tarnishing the image of the profession. He added that when the bill is passed, it will ultimately protect consumers.
For the benefit of all of us, for the benefit of the industry, for the benefit of our clients, for the benefit of our children and the future generation, they should, as quickly as possible, expedite it so that we can have some regulation to this industry.
He called on parliamentarians to give attention to the bill when brought before the House.
And finally, the Data Protection Commission has issued a stern warning to media houses that are yet to register as data producers and controllers to do so or face arrest and prosecution. Executive Director of the Commission says all media houses in the country, in the exception of GBC, have breached the law regulating Data Protection Act 843 of 2012.
The Data Protection Act 2012-843 sets out the rules and principles governing the collection, use, disclosure, and care for your personal data or information by a data controller or processor. It recognizes a person's data subject rights to protect their personal data or information by mandating a data controller or processor to process such personal data or information in accordance with the individual's rights. Hence, the establishment of the Data Protection Commission as an independent statutory body to ensure and enforce compliance. Since its establishment, the Commission has successfully prosecuted defaulting institutions who hitherto gave the excuse or said they were ignorant of the law.
I know the police, we just completed the next set of list, of which we have media organizations that are registered on. And so all media organizations that are not registered, what they're going to see happen is their directors and the secretaries of those organizations are going to be charged for failing to register in accordance with those laws. So it should be soon.
The Commission is on a drive to sensitize the public on the rudiments of data protection in the country. Deputy Minister of Communication George Anda dismissed suggestions that the work of the Data Protection Commission will stifle the right to information.
So far, I do not think that there's going to be any conflict. I don't see there being any conflict, because whatever information that is mandated to be released to a journalist by law is not information that would breach the work or would breach the Data Protection Act. So there's no overrun as far as I'm concerned.
The Deputy Minister later inaugurated a press call that will help educate the public on the work of the Commission.
Well, there's more to come on the show, so I'm going to hand over to Bright and Moon to continue with it. My name is Anthony Jackson.
AJ, we're grateful for your Wednesday morning. But water. Look, Moon, there's a story here. Adan residents are angry over water price, the cost of water. We're told that a company that sells water to them has hiked the prices by 100%. So from the sachet, the sale of water from 5 pesos, is it 5? Yes, 5 pesos. It is now 10 pesos per bucket. And the people are angry, very, very angry in Adan there. So that's what I was talking about.
The water shouldn't be an expensive commodity.
The next World War
it shouldn't.
We fought over water. We'll see. All right.
All right. Well, it's World Water Day today. The theme is why waste water, and so we're looking at improving water quality, reduce and treating wastewater as well. I mean, the disposal of wastewater alone in Ghana is a Herculean issue. Talk less of trying to treat wastewater. But this is what we're ranting about this morning.
Today, Ghana joins the rest of the world to mark World Water Day. It's a day set aside to focus on the importance of fresh water and also advocate for the sustainable management of freshwater resources. Each year, World Water Day highlights on a specific aspect of fresh water, and this year's theme is wastewater. And so today on Daily Rant, we are asking, how well can we ensure we protect our water bodies, and also how well can we effectively use wastewater? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
I believe that our water bodies, even though they may be in one locality, it extends to another area. So however we treat it, we should know that it will have a ripple effect and probably come back to us. So the people who are doing the mining, for instance, they shouldn't be too interested in the short term, but they should be mindful that they should keep it safe and sustain it for future generations. I think they should do that.
Why can't we utilize the water that we have? You know this, what's a borehole water. Maybe you can't use it for cooking, but you can use it for bathing and other things. Utilize that one, and the one you can use for drinking, sustain that one too as well. But you can see somebody defecating here, defecating here, then go and use this one. Then this one that's contaminated will go down to somebody. Then at the long run, we all tend to, that's the drinking water for someone. Then we all, as like a disease or something breaks out. Okay. Who caused it? I think it's our own problem, and we need to solve this.
I'm looking at World Water Day. I think World Water Day in its sense is alien to Ghana. It's alien to our culture. So people, Ghanaians, are not able to relate well with it. I want us to come to that point where we'd have Ghana Water Day, and not just Ghana Water Day, but a whole year plan to protect our water bodies, because as Ghanaians, we need
I think Friends of Water and River Bodies, I think is doing something about that.
But we don't see them. So it should be something that is consistent. So every day should be a water day where we are called to protect our water bodies. We shouldn't wait for one day where we are now creating awareness, a World Water Day. Let's come and protect our water bodies. It should be every single day, because we have an attitude where until we are pushed, we can't protect our water body.
First of all, we need to get the natural resources like water and all those as a course that we study in school. So right from childhood, like how we study social studies, people will know the importance of water, people will know the importance of air and other things. We are surrounded by a whole lot of water bodies, and we are surrounded by a whole lot of natural resources. But it's a case whereby we don't know the importance, we just know the basics, drinking, bathing, and all those things. But water can be used for a whole lot. Today is like this because of yesterday. So tomorrow will also be something because of today, you understand? And we are all destroying tomorrow one way or the other. Because of this galamsey thing, we are thinking about how much we'll get. Because of this DDT for fishing, we are thinking about how much we'll get today, but we are not thinking about tomorrow. So this is the problem that we have as a society.
Ghanaians and Africans as a people, we tend to take water for granted. It's probably because of its general abundance, but we tend to overlook its essence in a way. You see, we think it's all around us, so it's there, you know. But the true essence of water is not to serve you per se. It's so that you serve each other. Okay. It helps you when you help it. So if we take it for granted and we think it's just there to serve us and it keeps doing what it does for us, and we don't put that much effort into helping it, there will be a time where I would like to say that water would be short, clean water would be short, and would have to go to the ends of the earth to get water.
I know illegal mining activities along the Black Volta is posing a great challenge to potable water supply when the water dam project commences. Do you think the fight against, Galamsey, we are losing it?
I believe we are losing it because our measures, our checks are not punitive enough. When you call the people in authority, you hear a lot of, because the policies are there, but who is applying them? So I think that beyond application, beyond the policies, we should go into application, because that is something people fear. If we see it happen to someone, trust me, people would be careful when they want to do that. I think that we shouldn't just be talking about policies. Even if we train people in school, you can't go to someone's village and try to dictate how they use the water. So it should be something that, like we said, it shouldn't be a one-day event, then we let it go. We should continue the education process, and when someone is seen polluting the water body, the state must deal with that person to deter other people from doing same.
Let's ask ourselves, these water bodies that we are protecting, to me, I always say the media is failing. Education is failing, the media is failing. They try to talk about something just because it's near. After today, you won't hear them talking about it anymore. Because this is what they want us to know, and this is what they are telling us. Okay. So that's why I think we should work on our media.
You don't have to blame yourself. You're part of media.
I'm part of media, fine. That's why I'm still I'm still studying, and I'll make sure I won't repeat certain things our media houses are repeating.
Some of us are looking into the future to the extent that we can use water to fuel cars. It's possible. You understand? So that is the important thing we should be looking at. If we use water to fuel cars, then we'll get a whole lot of money from it. We'll get a whole lot of industries going into these water bodies to protect it. But we are not looking at that. We are just looking at using it for the consumption and that. So this fight against Galamsey and this illegal mining, my brother, the system is very hard. You understand? And our chiefs and all those people there, they are thinking about how to also get something, because all of us are born to think about today.
This year is on the theme water and wastewater. Do you think we can use wastewater effectively?
I believe we can use it effectively, because by waste we have the extent as which is maybe not suitable for use. Yeah. And it may not be suitable for consumption, but it can be good for irrigation and other...
Yeah. I always say that it's not what we eat that kills us, but it's how we combine it that kills us. So one, the person using it depends on the extent that the water is contaminated. It might be just a burst pipe going to the gutter. The person goes for it for irrigation. I don't think there's something wrong with that. Okay.
And I think it's the meaning we are even ascribing to waste. Because by waste, it may not be suitable for consumption, but it may be good for other things. So I think those are the alternatives we should look at and see what other productive ways we can use it.
You can even use that wastewater for washing your own clothes.
You can use wastewater for your clothes.
For washing your own clothes. It won't kill you. You are not drinking it.
Which wastewater will you use to wash?
A burst pipe is a wastewater.
Yeah, I think it's wastewater, yeah.
Looking at wastewater, it brings my mind back to sensitization. Let's educate ourselves on what we can use wastewater for, because even though water might be quote-unquote waste, we can use wastewater for building. Now let's use the wastewater for building so that we can have the potable water in reserve for our own health. So it should boil down to education and sensitization with water and wastewater. Let's educate the public on what we can use wastewater for and what we can't use wastewater for, so that wastewater will not be wasted.
These are the concerns of students here at the Ghana Institute of Journalism. Remember, you can partake in this discussion. Just log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's our News TV3. We have the hashtag TV3 News. They go there and drop your comments, and Johnny is always ready to read them.
This is what it feels like.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi educational fund up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play. Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, and Napa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
Yes, Jordan Ayew now with a chip. Jimmy Butler and a foul. Right out of the timeout. Jimmy Butler packs the rim. Oh, what a shot. That is absolute.
Rinko. Bolt going very near. Comes Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt storming through. He takes it again. Blake.
Sports Station shows every Monday at 9 p.m. on TV3 and is brought to you by Cowbell, Our Milk, Origin Bitters, and Betway.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
I will do my daughter's farewell ritual.
By the way, that's a father's right.
What duties have you fulfilled as a father in 15 years that you're asking for rights?
Do you want to break the tradition?
You shattered my trust and ended our marriage. Can't I even break the tradition?
Dad, I have decided. You'll wear this for the rituals. This will match with mom's attire too.
It's lovely.
Divorce happens between husband and wife, not between parents.
Do Not Love Me So Much shows weekdays at 8 p.m. on TV3 and it's brought to you by Yamvita Onga, Malcolm, and supported by Unia 95.1 and 3FM 92.7 Accra.
Hi, my name is John Ewua. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Universal Merchant Bank, UMB, the most innovative and customer-friendly bank in the country. Join me on 27th March as I get hosted by Pa Kwesi Asare on Time with the Captains on TV3. It will be a delight and a privilege for me to share some insights of our business people and in particular our young entrepreneurs.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
I see somebody's been busy.
Don't you want to come home in the night and hold me like your wife?
Are you still here?
You know what time it is.
Yeah, an ungodly hour. If you want to lie, especially to a woman,
You have to do it more convincingly.
Hello there.
I barely know her.
And you have 2 children.
Gentlemen, welcome to the Table of Men.
Table of Men shows on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Don't miss it.
Let's start with the Ghanaian Times this morning. On the front page, 41 police recruits dismissed for forgery and impersonation. Photograph of the IGP is here. We'll take a deeper look at that story. Kintampo waterfall closed down, fallout from the accident. The Daily Graphic has some huge ones here carrying the story of the Kintampo waterfall tragedy. Facility closed down. The tourism minister's photograph is here. And then TUC describes 2017 budget as ambitious, but urges government to raise tax-free threshold. We'll take a look at those stories. The police recruit sacking is also on the Daily Graphic. Daily Guide, NDC plot to ditch Mahama. That's the story. And then I have big plans for Ghana, the president talking here. The Finder says TUC hails ambitious 2017 budget, but questions ECG concession, unbridled trade liberalization, and high cost of borrowing. When my guests are seated, we'll take a look at that story too. AMA resumes demolition today. We're told that Operation Red Line is back. We'll see what's in there. The Daily Statesman, my big plans for Ghana will work, Preston Anado assures. I'm sure speaking at the African CEOs meeting in Geneva. That's where he said it. And then Obed Dankwa says, give NPP time to fix the economy. Those are some of the stories. The Gold Street business, no oil company has conducted fisheries impact assessment. That's from ISO, Dr. Mantel there speaking. The Independent says, having forgotten the high expectations of my government, Nana Akufo-Addo, the president, talking there. Those are some of the news. My guest this morning, Kamaldeen, is the NPP's National Nasra Coordinator. Kamal, good morning once again.
Good morning, Bright.
And great to have you here.
Great to have, for you, great being here as well.
We're grateful for your time. And then Member of Parliament for Damongo, Honorable Mutawakili, is also here. Good morning too.
Good morning.
And great to have you here too.
Great being here.
Okay, right. Let's pick this story quickly and wrap it up before we'll look at other ones. Now, the Daily Graphic has it, the Kintampo waterfall tragedy. The facility has been closed down. I think Ghanaian Times also carried the same story. First, come on, let me start with you. So, closing down the facility, is it enough?
Wow. Once again, good morning to our cherished viewers out there. Is it enough? I mean, to begin with, I would have to say that our condolences goes to the bereaved families, and of course, to those who are also in the hospitals, we're wishing them well. I think the closure was imminent after the tragic incident. Why not? If some would argue that it was an act of God, given the fact that a tree fell and caused the kind of damage that we are seeing as a nation today, or the kind of unfortunate spectacle that we are seeing as a nation today. What is expected is that safety measures ought to be put in place for work to continue. What is expected is that thorough investigation ought to go into it to find out. Now, how sure are we that if it indeed is a tree that fell and this happened, how sure are we that the other trees there are well grounded? So better investigations, good safety measures ought to be put in place for operational for operations to begin in earnest. So for me, the closure is something that I expected and something that I believe most reasonable minds would expect, so that going forward we'll be able to curb what indeed
might have caused that tragic incident.
Yes, so for the closure, I'm all for it. It's not going to be a permanent closure, but then the minority, after this incident, called or are still calling for a probe into it. I'm all for it. Investigate it. Probe what happened. Let's ensure that indeed we allay the fears of prospective tourists who will be coming into this country. Because, of course, it's a tourist site, and people visit there a lot. Even domestically, I mean, domestic tourists also go there and all that. So what ought to be done is that processes ought to be put in place to make sure the place is indeed safe to go, so that going forward it will not go a long way to affect the revenue inflow that we get from tourism and in this country.
And are you, for you as a member of the NPP, the back and forth about who was running the facility, whether they were members of the Invincible forces, the party's answer to that is what?
I've just indicated that there's nothing that one can say now without full investigation going into it. Yes, allegations will fly.
Right.
People will say all manner of things. But I say I'm one of those who would say that, look, why try to polarize every bit of a thing that happens in this country?
Don't people also have the legitimate right to ask as to who was managing the facility? Is that not? Is that polarization?
You do.
And that's the question.
Why am I saying? Why? You see, if we trivialize it, for God's sake, as invisible forces, an administrative, entity in this country, that they go to take over a place to say we want to man it. This is a very formidable site, a site that, of course, has been there for a very long time, that has administration, that has accountants, that has, hotel facilities, a whole lot of facilities there.
This is a
then
site
somebody
the
tells you
overlord
that.
of the place says it's been taken over by a group, and he says it is the Invincible Force. That's what I'm asking. Is this indeed true from the party's point of information?
I'm going to treat this information or this as an allegation,
all right,
which is supposed to come also to be part of the investigations that or the probe that will be going into it. I'm aware that the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and his team, including the Tourism Minister and also
the regional
minister,
all of them,
and all of them were there. And I believe that yes, they've gone to see things for themselves. It won't stop there. On the return of the president, after he's briefed, whatever had happened there, I believe, inshallah, in the wisdom of the president, he might say that, look, go into it. Either a committee should look into it because lives were lost. Almost 20 good lives. So for someone to just sit down and say, I am pointing accusing fingers at so and so persons. I'm doing this as so and so person. With all respect, I think we tend to be trivializing a very serious problem that has actually befallen us as a nation. And when we do that, we'll never go anywhere. Why do we start saying, look, if this happened, is that person, is that party, is this party, and all that? I mean, it's a problem. For me, I'm all for the probe. Let's go into it. For now, nothing is conclusive. Nobody has investigated to say that this is what we have established, and these are the facts, and these are my recommendations. Nothing like that. Okay. Let's do it and make sure.
And wait for
the
investigations.
It should not be lip service. It should not be talk shop. We should, as much as possible, work as a nation to make sure that we unravel the mystery around it, if indeed there is any, to make sure that indeed going forward, we're going to make sure, we curb some of these things and it will not happen again. Even if it will happen, it should be minimal.
I'm grateful. So we have to wait. These allegations flying around as to who was managing the place. All we need to do is to wait for proper investigations, and then from the results, then we can question who was actually running the place.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to our cherished viewers, and more especially the good people of Damonga constituency. Yeah, we had a tragedy, and that we must admit. And to start with it, I will say my condolences to the bereaved families and those wish those in hospital a speedy recovery. Yeah, as a result of this tragedy, issues came up. One was the Kintampo Hini. This is not somebody you say whatever he says is trivializing. I don't think we need to say that means that you are intentionally saying that he's playing politics or some want to make some capital out of it to take some advantage or no. I don't think so. I think the chief came out that since 20 December, the place was taken over by the invisible forces, and as a result, there were no tourist guides who were trained to give direction and provide emergency rescue operations in case of any accident. That wasn't done. We've not heard of any tourist guy who was on site at that time. That means that they were driven away. 2, what compounded it was the fact that the vice president did well by going there to see what has happened. But the one key thing he left out was not visiting the chiefs.
Oh.
He didn't visit the chiefs. Even though...
And that compounded the problem?
No, you see, in visiting a place, even he knows very well.
You see the trivialities I'm talking about?
No. Even in politics, where you go to sell your message and do what, the first thing you do is to visit the chief. And more importantly, once the chief have made a statement, you need to have gone there to reassure him that proper investigations will be done.
The chief's allegations of the place being
taken over,
yes,
the chief said...
That's the chief of Chimanko near Kintampo, not the chief of Kintampo. Chimanko, that's
so if they allege that the invisible forces took over the place, and as the vice president of the Republic of Ghana, you visit the site of the accident, I expected that the next call would be the hospital, then you visit the chiefs, then you move to Wenchi. But that wasn't done. He didn't visit the chiefs. 2, is it that because he alleged that the invisible forces took over the place, the vice president got angry and felt that he was betraying them? No, this is a question I'm posing.
I'll come to you.
Is it that? Is it that? I'm not saying that he got angry. Is it that? Because once the chiefs raised an issue, I think he needed to have gone there to reassure them, which he didn't. And that is why, with the minority, we said that 1, we must investigate it, compensate, pay the cost of medical expenses and funeral costs, and then 3, move forward to providing insurance to tourists, so that as they are there, whatever happened, there's some compensation that will get. That will go a long way to put a positive image out there that in Ghana we are serious about tourism, because my place is a tourist hub.
Right.
Because we have 4 tourist sites in Damango: the Larabanga Mystic Stone, the Larabanga Asian Mosque, the Mole National Park, and the Mongnori Ecotourism Village. So if anything affects Kintampo waterfalls,
it could affect,
and the livelihood of my people will be of a concern to me. So I think that we shouldn't, apart from looking at the Kintampo waterfall, we should spread it around to ensure that all other tourist sites,
in terms of the safety audits,
the safety is that not only restricted to Kintampo waterfalls. So I think that the government need to take quick action and see how this thing could nothing happens in the near future. Said that we'll be here discussing about disaster that has taken place.
Come on.
Right. Just a quick response to what my brother said. I mean, the second bit of his submission.
The fact that the vice president did not visit the chief.
Yeah, I find it so much unfortunate. If you recall,
is there a reason why he didn't go there?
Let me give a reason. Let me just bring our minds to something. If you recall, May 9th disaster when it happened was a disaster, was a tragic scene, a tragic incident. The then president, John Ajikum Kufuor, had to visit or had to go to the stadium. Necessarily, did he go to the Gamanche before going to the stadium because it's a disaster? Did that happen? No, I'm asking. Nothing. You see, the point is that, and there have been serious...
In this case that the chief is making allegations, would it have been proper for the vice president to have gone there to assure the chief that even if the invisible forces are taking over, they were going to correct things? Because the president has said that Now, no one should take the law into its own hands.
Right. Why is the minority calling for a probe? Why am I siding with the call for a probe into this?
We need to
now,
find out
it then
this.
goes to mean that if there's going to be a probe, obviously, he who alleges would have to prove.
You see, the Daily Guide story says that the NPP vice chairman of the area, Abubakar Sadiq, confirmed that the invincible forces indeed had taken over the place, and that from hence they were going to leave the management of the facility to the chief because of this back and forth about who is managing the facility.
Absolutely. So it then goes to mean that, with all respect to the chief, he's going to be in the center of the investigation as well. He has some information to provide. He had something to say. Now, the vice president of the republic, if even he's visiting the chief, he is visiting the chief, of course, as, expected.
Custom
demands. Not to go to the chief because he wants to go and find out whether the allegations that he's making stands. It should be left for a committee that will be put together to do an investigation or proper investigation into this matter. Now, my good brother sits here to say that, is it because the chief made this allegation, that is why he didn't go
he's
there?
Asking
of course, his question might be legit. If you say that you are this, and of course, properly speaking, let me get professional, or let us get professionals, or let's put together a committee to investigate, like we did in May 9th disaster when we had lawyer Okujato leading a commission of inquiry. You understand? Set up by the president. Looked into the matter, came out with recommendations. So you expect the vice president to jump the gun and move to the chief and say, you've said so and so and so and so. Is he the one now going to arrogate himself the powers of investigations? No. He will rather have to set up, or they will have to get a proper committee put in place to look into it. In this case, the chief who is making these allegations might be consulted for further information to establish or to unravel what is the truth for us. Now, if you sit here and say he didn't go there, I mean, it's trivial. Very trivial.
I think
my brother
was asking questions.
Honestly, very trivial. No, he's not. I didn't say so. Ceremoniously, he can go there. Fine.
I'm not
to
saying
say,
go and tell.
Listen.
I'm not saying go and tell the chief how you will do everything. The chief raised an issue. Even if he had not raised any issue, all other things being equal, once that thing was under the custody of the traditional council, later the assembly, they will have some information, additional information. Maybe there could be some rituals they normally perform there every year, which they haven't yet done.
We've heard this too.
No, maybe. I'm just making that. So in visiting, once it is an asset within, he might have some additional information just to say, okay, we've had a disaster. The next one is, what I'm particular about is to reassure him after he has made that allegation that, Chief, we've heard you're a stakeholder, and we are going to investigate to come out with the facts. It's assurance. He has raised a concern.
Okay. All right.
It is very important that
I still think it's below the belt.
You reassure.
It's not necessary for you. I think
the
chief bring up this now.
I'm grateful.
More so when we have lives.
I'm grateful. Let's move on to the finder. So, these are concerns being shared that he should have visited the chief. Kamal thinks that it's not necessary, but let's move on to this one on the finder. TUC hails ambitious 2017 budget, but questions ECG concession and broadened trade liberalization and then the high cost of borrowing. So the TUC is happy about the budget, except that you're raising certain concerns. Kamal, again, let me start with you. One key thing about this TUC's concerns, one is the way we allow all kinds of products into our system. And so if you set up these one district, one factory, and these factories are competing with imports, certainly your local enterprises might fold up because they are unable to compete with products that are imported into the country. So TUC is worried about it, allowing everything into Ghana.
Of course, if you want to build a strong economy, what matters most is to resort to domestication, of course. Now, so that when you domesticate and you're able to at least add some value to what you also export, and then of course your export goes higher, indeed, you're going to be good to go as a nation. Where imports or importation or import into the country is high, obviously you're going to have a very down economy.
And that's a problem now.
That's a problem.
Everything on the street.
Now, as we have it now, even toothpick, we have lots of bamboos in this country, which is of course the basic raw material that they use to provide. To manufacture toothpicks. I asked myself a question: can't we have a small factory in this country that, of course, is engaged in manufacturing or production of toothpick? Can't we? Okay, so that it will spare us the time, okay, of having to go to China, to Malaysia, to Singapore, and other areas, just because we need to buy toothpick down here. I asked myself again a question: the toilet rolls that we use, most of them imported. Do we need to import toilet roll? Exercise books, do we need to have that? Given the fact that we have the raw materials that can do all this. So, you see, we ought to be focused as a nation. We must make sure that we curtail or bring down the rate of importation into this country. Now, if imports actually declines, I guess our economy is going to strive. So I side with the TUC if they say that, look, measures ought to be put in place to discourage importation.
Not to open our economy to all kinds of imports.
You see, now, what's the argument? One district, one factory. Factories peculiar to a particular area, and what kind of raw materials we're going to find. How are we going to make sure that this factory works? For example, if we have much more cassava, are we going to make sure that we have a start factory? If we have much more mangoes, how are we going to get mangoes, of course, somewhere in the northern region when you go around Goucher on your way to Diali? There are mango plantations, and they have come out with a very good factory around there. They have what we call dry mango chips, and then, of course, mango juice and all that. How are we going to ensure that it's well done or done well, then we can export?
And it doesn't face imports, competition from the same products coming from outside.
It all boils down to policy, right? It all boils down to policy. Look, we need to put together very stringent measures to discourage people who import when, in fact, we have some of these products in Ghana. Nonetheless, we need to also add value to whatever we are producing in this country. Point is that if you come out with something that is shoddy or that is kind of low standard, people will tend to what? Not to like it. But let's not forget, China started from where we are today. There were times, in fact, Japan, not even China, Japan. There were times we're told, according to the books we've read, that there were some times past that if anything, they say something is coming from Japan, nobody wants to touch it. Today, something coming from Japan is seen to be the highest quality. So can't we also start that way? The issue
is policy.
It's policy and also it's focus. We need to put in place lots of policies to discourage importers, and then put together policies to encourage local production and hence exportation in this country.
Kamala, I'm grateful. Honorable Mutawakilu, so the TUC says the budget is good, but they have raised certain concerns about trade liberalization, for example, which they claim that allows in so much, everything just would have to come in, and that is a worry to them.
We should look at it again.
Are we able to stop opening our economy to everything?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are in a globalized world, and therefore the interplay of demand and supply and giving the consumer the choice comes to play. However, we've had challenges of these import bills. I could remember in 2014, about $1.5 billion of imports. And in the present, President Mama former President Muhammad then said in his State of the Nation's address that he was going to work towards curbing that. And he implemented a series of policies. One was poultry production.
Right.
The 300,000 poultry project. He ensured that the pharmaceuticals companies got support from EDIF to be able to produce, and as a result, they were able to export to other West African countries. That brought about the setting up of the Commander Sugar Factory and many more. As a result, last year, we recorded balance of payment surplus. That means we exported.
Just a local production.
Yeah, we exported more than we imported. Based on the budget, the balance of payment surplus was $247 million. But recently, I read in the newspapers, Bank of Ghana said that we have about $2.6 billion. So that means there is some work that is achieving results. Once you start recording balance of payment surplus, it is very important to continue
more local production.
to expand it and ensure that we achieve the desired results that we want.
And do you see this budget as following that path?
One district, one factory. In the campaign of MPP, we're made to understand one district, one factory, one village, one dump, $1 million per constituency. But in the budget, it's conflicting. While at one point, the $1 million per constituency says the districts will come out with the projects they want to execute. If you go to the policy initiatives, the same $1 million, one constituency, is to be used for several projects. One district, one factory, one village, one dam. And then you begin to wonder whether we actually want to achieve, what they captured in their manifesto. Because
you just answered it.
Looking at $1 million, I thought it was an addition to the initiative.
To funding for
because
the
various,
there were various
items. Now, if you now attach this thing to it, you are limiting the district from picking what they...
The number of projects they can do with the money.
Yes, and whether the money will be enough to be able to execute all these projects. Because when you look at one village, one dam, it's not small money. Because if I have about 45 communities in my constituency, some have even over 100. Will the $1 million one constituency be able to satisfy that? Now you come in with one district, one factory. So I believe that in the course of the year, they need to let us know exactly how it will go. Two is that we thought that the money was going to the grassroots, and that is the district assembly, and that is the concept of devolution and decentralization, where the various district assemblies are supposed to function effectively. However, this $1 million that is supposed to do is going to an authority.
Yeah, we're told about three
authorities. Whether it will have significant impact on the constituency directly, I believe that it should have gone to the district assemblies to strengthen the structures. We are talking of election of DCs. What is the meaning? We want assemblies to be able to stand. The people decide what to do, thereby setting an authority that is not going to bring in more money to add to what you've already promised, but rather taking the money to that authority to execute. I have a challenge with that.
Well, right. I didn't go into the budget. On the surface of it, I did talk about how importation affects an economy, and then how export-oriented economy also is much needed by many nations. In summary, that's what I did. Apparently, my good brother wants to go into the budget because the TUC is talking about the budget and hailing the budget. I think something good is seen by the TUC, and that is why they say that, look, they hail this budget, and The only caution is liberalizing the market environment and getting importers to compete with us. Fine. I thought that was where our conversation was going to stop. Now my good brother sits down and then cast doubts on these feasible projects that we have actually, tabulated in the budget. We've spoken about one factory, one district. That is correct. We've spoken about one village, one dam. That is correct. And all of this, of course, initiatives will be taken to ensure that they are implemented.
He's talking about funding for
now
these projects. He says he thinks
the
money isn't enough. Perhaps the money isn't going to the right place.
That's interesting. You see, I don't know why my brothers on the other divide or my friends on the other side think that governance is an event. It is a process, for God's sake. Governance has never been an event. It's a process.
What do you mean?
Why am I saying this? If the first budget comes out and then indicate to us that X, Y, Z we promised, X, Y, Z we are going to do, essentially, what it means to all of us is that this talk about we are going to do this is going to happen. Now he's questioning the approach to the extent that he's questioning the resource level of whatever we have.
And
put
$1
in
million
place,
for one factory, one dam, and all that.
What I want to talk about is that there will always be doubting Thomases. They will always be there.
You think $1 million will be able to fix a factory and a dam? I think that's the question he's asking.
If he says the $1 million is going to cater for everything, I think I will refer him to the budget again. Kindly, he should go and look at it. We have, under the office of the president, the project of one factory, one district. Okay? Budget, don't forget, has actually been allocated to the office of the president.
Right.
We have also the development authorities also under the president. Then we have the $1 million, dollar to constituency to look into poverty reduction strategy.
So there's more funding.
Now, of course, there's more funding. So it is not just the $1 million.
Let me come.
No.
So there's more funding.
It's not true.
All right.
Under one district,
I think his concern is that
there is a budget allocation for it, and it's not the $1 million he's talking about that is going to take care of all that. It's not true.
I'm speaking per
look
the
at it
budget. Go and look at the policy initiatives. It was clearly captured under
that
the policy
$1 million will fix all these.
Yes, after analyzing it, they have policy initiatives, energy, what they want to do, and when it came to the $1 million, the $1 million per constituency will be used for the following. And they started.
And I'm asking you a question. The 1.5 billion you questioned that is going to the presidency. Why did you question that?
What we are saying.
And what was our explanation?
Putting all
1.5 billion.
I'm not even talking of 1.5 billion.
I'm asking you, the 1.5 billion that you questioned going to the presidency, what is it supposed to be used for?
You see, there is one thing
so what are you talking about?
Certain structure, government machinery, the presidency, you don't allocate so much resources to the presidency. Because it's not like it's not like other ministries.
What did we
No, the presidency, the capital expenditure, if you sum up 22 ministries, the capital expenditure they kept at the presidency is more than 22 ministries put together.
So you're not convinced by the excuse they gave that certain ministers,
your question is answered.
Certain ministers will be under the presidency,
I thought,
and so need to cater for them.
And that is the problem we have, where you create so many ministries or ministers, about 110 in all. These are the challenges you have.
I'm saying that it is not. It is
so
economically.
the president is giving 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to his test.
It is economically untrue when he says that it is just $1 million we are taking to a district and wanting the $1 million to do everything.
Your budget.
Okay. And I'm saying that they have cause to say through Ablakwa, Honorable Ablakwa, that look, why 1.5 billion going to presidency? And we had cause to give them an answer that we have various policy initiatives which are supposed to be pro-poor policy interventions that we are going to institute. Therefore, which are under the presidency. That's why we need this much money. And I'm saying one district, one factory, they want to supervise it and take care of it is under the presidency, and we'll move on and we'll have a budget That is what I'm telling you. So if you say 1 million, you are not saying
it's conflicting with your budget. All right. That's not true. Okay. The policy, the budget statement and economic policy that was submitted, you are contradicting it.
All right.
Why?
The policy
Where the 1.5 billion is not coming from the budget.
Let's look at this story.
They didn't put one factor under that presidency. They didn't put it there.
No.
There was nothing like that. They indicated that the $1 million will be used.
No, I'm surprised you argue like this.
Go and read the budget.
Why you never followed explanations? You never followed explanations?
When I
the budget has been given to the presidency and then we ask you questions
of government policy and budget statement.
All right, I'm grateful, gentlemen, for that on the budget. Okay. Let's move on. Let's stay with the Daily Graphic. This story it keeps coming, and so we need to take a look at it. 41 police recruits sacked for forgery. We are told that 41 police trainees have been dismissed from the police training schools for allegedly using fake certificates to get recruited into the Ghana Police Service. Out of the number, 22 trainees were dismissed from the Polugu Police Training School in the Upper East region, 10 from Kumasi Training School in the Ashanti region, and 5 from the training school in the Greater Accra region, 2 from the Police Training School in Kovodia, and then 2 from Ho. The affected trainees have been arrested. They were recruited on November 15 and had been under training for the past 4 months. We're told they've been granted bail. And that's the story. Honorable Mutawakilo, this issue of police people getting into security services with documents that are not proper, we seem to be recording several of these. If the police is the institution in charge of admissions, why aren't we dealing with them, sanctioning them, punishing them for this? But we seem to be rather dealing with the students in question.
Thank you very much. I think this issue of police recruitment has not been, today is not the first day, not the second. It's been with us. We were aware of, is it 2014? Some recruits reporting at the police.
The school there.
And it came out that it was a scam and some police top men were involved. So it's been there. But what measures have they put in place to prevent? That means that there are no adequate measures that have been put in place to ensure that even before you get there, they detect it and you are prevented. And that tells us to some extent that, yes, some people might want to be smart, but I think it is done on the police administration to go further, to be able to vet them very well, do all the necessary cross-checking before the proper recruitment starts. So I would advise the police administration to ensure that they do the proper thing and make sure that next time we don't see such things coming in the media.
Come on.
Yeah. We had some recruitment scams sometime, and of course some senior police officers were indicted in that. I guess if the new IGP is cracking the whip, he should actually make sure that modalities are also put in place, just like Mutakil said, that would make sure and ensure that people don't use fake certificates or ungenuine, if you like, certificates to get to where they want to get to in terms of employment, and for that matter, becoming policemen or becoming service personnel and all that. I think that as a country, we have to live up to this strongly. Nigeria have had a very bad, reputation at a point, with all respect to my brothers from Nigeria. There are unscrupulous ones who, of course, tend to think that, look, let me do it the short way by going to just, manufacture certificates and then get whatever they want to do. I remember or I recall that some of these matters also happened in countries like that, and that is why I'm giving this example. I mean, we also in this country, we're about facing same problem. People coming up with fake certificates and trying to claim who they are not. I mean, we should do something about it. It's not just coming into the police service with fake certificates. People have also been sacked from the police service as a result of some, you know, untoward behavior in terms of misconduct and all that. I mean, this IGP is really on top of issues. And I'm so happy that AP2 is doing all this to be able to sanitize the system so we can have a very effective police service. Whoever is out there watching us, with all respect, if anybody comes to you to say that, look, I have a way to get you a degree, I have a way to get you a certificate, I have a way to get you whatever, please, 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 there are institutions you can belong to acquire these certificates. Belong to those institutions correctly. Go through your course, finish it, and acquire your certificate. This will happen to you if you are not careful, eventually. So that's all I will say. And the young ones, of course, are a bit gullible now. So because of lack of job, because my parents didn't have money to take me to school or to finish the higher education or to go to tertiary institutions, of course, I can just move into getting this shortcut certificate and do what I want to do. Eventually, you are going to actually be caught, and this will happen to you. I think it's punishable, not just sacking them. They need to prosecute some of these people.
They are before court, some have been granted.
Absolutely, to serve as a deterrent. It's very important. They need to be prosecuted to serve as a deterrent. Otherwise, this country, if we allow some of these things to keep on like this, we'll get to a time where you even carry a certificate to somewhere and it's not respected at all. One other thing, Bride, don't you think it's about time we move away from the world of certificates? Over cherishing, over glorifying academic laurels? There are countries where people have not had cause to go to any tertiary institution. When they sit down and try to analyze matters and try to come out with policies, you marvel. Now, if you want to have this idea of white-collar jobs being the way and not trying to encourage genuine, talents and genuine wisdom-like people who, of course, can help us shape our lives, then we have a problem. So in all this, I think we just have to look at it critically and then know that or agree to ourselves that, look, anything that we have to do must be done and done correctly so that we will not find ourselves wanting.
I'm grateful. Let's go to the finder. This story, AMA resumes demolition today. We're told that the Accra National Assembly will today commence a removal of structures on government reserve lands. The Assembly is reminding the general public, especially all those who are putting up structures on government reserve lands such as along the Odor River, Kole Lagoon, Old Fadama, the East Legon Greenbelt, Mensa Guinea Railway Station, and from Aveno to the Agbebloshi, Glefe, and Chimwena, that all those structures will be removed. Again, the AMA says that traders who have, or hawkers who have turned footbridges and the underparts of overhead bridges into trading points are to stop. And they mentioned particularly the Nkrumah Circle interchange. So Operation Don't Cross the Red Line is back. That's according to the AMA. Honorable Adams Mutawakilu. Now, this seemed to be becoming what the politicians have been using to get people. Now, we realize that when it gets into elections, these persons are allowed to trade. And then the moment after elections, then there is an operation to remove them. It has become back and forth, and these traders are all over. Can we ever get rid of these traders who are sitting at unauthorized places?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the previous administrator, Alfred Okuvandapoy, he did quite well in clearing, first of all, those around the Odor River, the river bodies, and then two, clearing the city. But the issue has been consistency. We do it and then we relax.
When it is getting to elections?
It's not only
because we are going to lose votes.
It's not only when it is getting to elections. Most often it happens, then we relax, then we come back again. And I think it is time we make it consistent. Once you don't allow one to set up any small business under a bridge, you won't get the second person coming in. And I think we need to just continuously implement it, not as issue a letter, carry out the activity, go back and rest, wait 6 months, 8 months down the lane, we come back. That I don't think will be best. The second one is dialogue and engagement. Just issuing the letter and not getting the people to understand and appreciate what you are doing will still go back to naught. That is another thing. I don't see where you just issue a letter today and then tomorrow you are carrying out. I thought this would have been issued. We engage the people for, let's say, give them time, you engage them, educate them about the dangers, for them to appreciate that whatever they are doing it's not the best for they themselves.
But this is not the first time. And these traders have been moved and moved and moved. I have lost count of how many times they've been asked to move.
Yeah, that is what I was.
So what education again is needed?
Dialogue. We need to engage them to appreciate. Appreciation is the best thing we can. If you don't appreciate what you are doing, then you will see it recurring all the time. And the second one I indicated was the consistency. We don't wait, do it today for 1 week, then we go and sleep. For some time later, you come back. Once you need that place and you clear them, then make good use of that. Have somebody consistently. And also, if you educate them well, if you're littering around, Ghanaians, somewhere you go, you drop in it and somebody will tell you, pick it up. Don't leave it there. Yeah, you can even be in a bus, you drink pure water and just open the window and then you throw it. I think we need to educate. Apart from implementing what we have said we'll do, there should be continuous education and continual monitoring.
This continuous education, does it work? We have situations where a ruling government in the build-up to an election will simply fail to relocate hawkers because of the fear that these hawkers will vote against them. And we have evidence to show where hawkers have said that if you remove us, we'll vote against you. And so the operations have been stopped.
If I want to go to that extent, I'll not only blame the hawkers, but it will include the media. It's the way we carry it out.
How?
You realize that if you support the initiative of a government, if the media come in to support, the questions you pose to them, that don't you think that it is very important that you'd relocate about the disaster that has happened, and you carry it in line with the government? I think, but when I've listened to some media men, they will go and say, oh, I saw NDC poster even on some of the walls, or I saw MPP posters on some of the walls. So that means they are using these people. You tend to weaken the government because, look, the views of the people is critical. So, in politics, when you see that the way things are good, you are endangered, there are certain decisions as human beings you take
so that's
that will not go the long way to benefit all of us.
I see.
Right. I'm happy Honorable Mutakil cited the immediate past mayor of Accra, Honorable Okufandapon, now member of parliament for Ablekuma South. Is that not right? Yeah. And that he did a good job in making sure that some of these unauthorized hawkers on our streets, who they see as a nuisance in terms of city development, are put away. The same mayor had his then organizer, Yabuatinjam, saying that, look, we are working so hard to maximize our votes, and we are working so hard to reduce the votes of our party. You see, I'm telling you the extent to which polarization is affecting our development as even a people. Now, if you want Accra to be the clean place, the very serene place that we can all walk past, that we have pavements that are supposed to be walkways taken over by traders and hawkers. Now, the mayor is actually put in place by the president, given the nod by assemblymen. The mayor is putting together policies and bylaws for the particular, locality. Then the people who are supposed to support him as his political friends in the same party come to tell him that, look, you are trying to thwart our votes. You are trying to reduce our votes. So the bane of the entire matter is polarization. Politics And that's a serious problem. I will continue to hammer on this until we, the young ones who are growing in politics, change. I'm a full-blooded MPP man, and I will continue to be MPP man. However, what is wrong is wrong. If I want the mayor who has just been appointed by the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Mohamed Ni Ajesowa, to succeed, I should be able to back his bylaws if indeed is passed by him and his assemblymen. And implementation is going to be done by them. I should be able to support him. But not to come out to tell him that, look, my brother, your actions or inactions is going to go a long way to reduce our votes. Okay? Again, poverty and lack of coherence in implementing policies of the district assemblies. Why? When I say lack of coherence, point is that if you want me to move from this place, you would have earmarked a place for us to go and have our marketing done.
It has to be definite.
You understand?
Already the laws are against you sitting at the first place.
Absolutely. So, no, you see, but because of poverty, people want to do everything to make ends meet. Okay, now I think that when I sit on that footbridge at Circle, I'll be able to attract buyers to buy my stuff. I come to sit there unlawfully. The man who is supposed to ensure that he monitors it from the AMA comes there and take maybe 1 cedi, bribery and corruption. We blame only politicians. It's not just politicians. The people who are working with us out there sometimes are out of it. They're culpable. Come to take 1 cedi and allow the trader sitting there. So the trader, as a result of poverty, comes to sit there, want to make ends meet. Again, the man who is supposed to ensure that the place is sanitized also comes to extort some money from this trader and moves on. So there is a plethora of factors, okay, causing this particular nuisance that we see in on our streets. It's about time we develop the will. It's about time we develop the strength to fight wrong. Not until we are able to do this, and not until when the mayor now comes in. I mean, I hear he's not actually in place yet. I mean, he's been announced, but assembly will have to give approval. And I hear they are yet to do some voting and all that. I wish him well, and then I pray that he goes through very well. However, if he comes, he should work it. But see, Bright, this story, for me, who is implementing it?
The AMA. Starting today.
Excellent. The AMA is doing that. Is that not right?
Right.
When your mayor is not yet in place even.
I
would have thought, I would have thought that. I would have thought that, yes, I understand that governance, like, once again, is a process and it's a continuity. However, I would have thought that we try our best to get this mayor in place. Having had the mayor in place and giving him the nod, and then now sit with him, you look at how you are going to streamline some of these things and implement them properly. Otherwise, once again, polarization. Somebody is going to say that because NDC is out, the guys there are still NDC, and there are those trying to make the government unpopular. And look, these things will come up.
Okay,
I am saying that get all of them on board. Let the mayor come on board, then we can push.
All right, briefly, we're wrapping.
As he indicated, the former mayor under Akufo, before we existed, the same thing happened to him.
Right.
When he was clearing it, then government came with a directive.
At least his organizer didn't say that he was
the government came with a directive that they should stop it. It was a directive not from the executive, from government. And that is why I didn't want to move. And that way, and I analyze it in a... So it was the government, the presidency that directed him to stop it from clearing off the Kaya people. So the point, when you come politically, we, the political parties, play a significant role in this indiscipline.
You are corroborating my point.
Now, what happened is...
You are only corroborating my point.
Any Van der Poel implements to clear off. Then he goes there and tell them, you see, NDC is chasing you away. When we come, we'll make you to trade. We'll make sure you trade.
Those are the arguments.
No, and you will see when they start.
You're saying the same
when
thing.
They start existing them today, they'll say, "When you promise us, when you come, you won't do that."
No, by saying our attitude also,
so we
as
also
a people,
play a significant role.
No, but right, our attitude. More importantly, our attitude as a people is also very important. You know, we just get up and buy things anyhow.
Okay.
I mean, I think.
All right.
Yes.
I'm so grateful, Jeremy. We'll hit the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. We're grateful. Kamadin is the NPP's National Coordinator Honorable Adams Mutawakil is a member of Parliament for Damongo of the NDC. Grateful for your time.
Great meeting you.
And then give us Spark capsules, relieves you from sexual weakness. It makes you a real man. And then give us Cool capsules, relieves you from severe waist pains, constipation, piles, phlegm, and menstrual pains. They are sponsors of New Day. Grateful for your time this morning. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll turn our attention to sports.
Many on make and give us the power capsules. So when I'm here, we are now sorry, I'm no pana. I was say Abua, and only do our Benomino. Memma name menina to me no. And one memma, that's I see you, Bano. I may need Tiabe. Give us 4 capsules, so say that one. Nay, I hear
Hi, good morning, and it's time to bring you some sports news with me, Thierry Nyan, here on TV3's New Day. Now let's get into the details. And a reason has been put to why referee Joseph Lamte has been banned by FIFA. Well, he was banned for life by football governing body FIFA because match fixing was uncovered following irregular betting activity around the game. The revelation by Reuters, quoting anonymous sources from World Football Governing Body FIFA, suggests suspicion that Lamte may have been influenced by betting syndicates. The official was found guilty of unlawfully influencing the match results after handling South Africa a soft penalty for handball just before halftime and allowing a second goal in controversial circumstances from a quickly taken free kick soon after in a qualifying match for the 2018 finals in Russia. FIFA has not said who influenced Lamte to help South Africa win. The ban has been seen as a negative statement on the standard of officiating in Ghana, while in South Africa it has ended
earning respect for guiding his side to the 2014 World Cup with stunning victories over Zambia and Egypt. He lost his job and much of his reputation, however, after a shambolic campaign that was ruined by player indiscipline, squabbles over money, and poor football. He has since been working in Sudan, quietly molding one of the country's emerging sides. Willie Sanyol, meanwhile, has not held a coaching job since 2016 when he ended a 2-year spell at Bordeaux. Before then, he was in charge of the French under-21 side and enjoyed a remarkable playing career with Bayern Munich and the French national team, for whom he played more than 50 times. His Bordeaux side played some thrilling football, but he was also embroiled in a major controversy after saying African players are powerful but suggested they lack intelligence and discipline. This is unlikely to count against him much. What he faces, though, is a formidable opponent in a pair, with the calls for a local coach growing louder in some quarters.
Talk about countries looking for national team coaches. Ivory Coast have named former Belgium international Mike Wilmots as their new head coach. The 48-year-old replaces Michel Desailly, who was sacked after a disastrous Nations Cup showing this year. Wilmots, the former boss of Belgium, has signed a 2-year contract with the target of qualifying for the 2018 World Cup in Russia and the African Cup of Nations in Cameroon a year later. He will get the chance to see his new charges in action almost immediately as Ivory Coast play 2 friendlies. Ibrahim Kamara will take charge of the team for the games against Russia on Friday and in Krasnodar, and then Senegal 3 days later in France. Now, on that note, we move to the international games. Remember, club football has been held because of these. Now, Mesut Ozil, Julian Draxler and Mario Gomez have all withdrawn from Germany's friendly against England in Dortmund later tonight. Arsenal playmaker Mesut Ozil and Paris Saint-Germain forward Julian Draxler have both reported hamstring problems, while Wolfsburg striker Gomez has a groin injury. Germany had already confirmed that goalkeeper Manuel Neuer would play no part because of a calf complaint. Meanwhile, forward Lukas Podolski will captain the team in his last match for his country. Still with German football, and Germany's Lukas Podolski will receive an appropriate farewell when the world champions meet England in a high-quality friendly later tonight, with the forward having become one of the country's all-time greats, according to head coach Joachim Low.
It's going to be a mixture between beautiful and sad feelings to be a witness to Lucas's farewell match. We've gone a long way together with lots of hurdles, disappointments, but also lots of joy. I think the stage is set for tomorrow, and just the right kind of stage. Fantastic stadium, a sellout crowd, and because after all, Lucas was one of the greatest players that German football has ever seen. He's left a mark on my life as a coach as well. From his 130 caps, tomorrow will be his 130th, 128 we've played or accompanied each other 2 games. I think he made his debut.
So over to South America, and their World Cup qualifiers begin on Thursday, with some top sides on the continent on the verge of failing to make the biggest football showpiece in the world. Some are flying so high it will take a miracle not to qualify. Brazil are only 1 win away from reaching their target of making it to Russia 2018 World Cup when they come up against Uruguay. Argentina and Colombia will also be facing high exits in this particular qualifying series. We'll bring you a finished detail of how the groups stand and why some of these teams may be missing out in the showpiece in Russia later in 2018. All right, so then to Arsenal, and Peter Cech is set to miss 4 weeks with a calf injury suffered against West Bromwich Albion on Saturday. The goalkeeper underwent a scan on Tuesday, and the Gunners expect him to be out for around a month. The injury means Cech will miss several crucial games for Arsenal, including next weekend's clash against Manchester City. He's also facing a race against time to be fit for the FA Cup semi-final against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City on April 23, though David Ospina is recognized as the club's cup goalkeeper in such games. All right, so on that note, we end today's sports bulletin here on New Day. But remember, we'll bring you some more sports news later on Midday Live with me, Thierry Nyan. But before I go, let me just let you know that today's World's Water Day, and this short documentary is going to let you know all about it. Keep watching TV3.
The world not having adequate water. It's about the world not having enough potable water. As we mark the day, we'll turn our attention to that. My guest, Dr. Philip Amwa, is with the International Water Management Institute. Dr. Amwa, grateful for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
So let's stay on this. The issue is about wastewater, water and wastewater. Now, why is wastewater so key when we're talking about World Water Day?
Yeah, it's very, very important we draw our attention to wastewater. In fact, we most people consider wastewater as waste.
But it's a waste.
It is. But then it should be considered a valuable resource from which revenue can be generated, and then that revenue can be used for something else, something very important, instead of considering it as waste. In Ghana, for example, we can consider wastewater as a valuable resource, and that one can actually help us address some of the sanitation challenges that we are having.
I see. So it's a waste, but we can derive a lot of very good things from it.
A lot of that.
How is that? You're talking about recycling it?
I'm talking about irrigation. Yes, recycling. But we can use irrigation. It's for irrigation. We can use the excreta for fertilizer, for example. We can get energy from some of these things. Because of that, the WHO have actually attached a lot of importance to this. And we have come out with guidelines for the safe use of wastewater for agriculture, for example. Why is it that wastewater is just released into the environment untreated? We can treat it, and the treated effluent can be used for irrigation, for example. So why don't we do that? Now, in Accra here, you go around and you see so many farmers using polluted water to irrigate
water
crops.
From the drains.
From the drains, which is actually polluted. Actually, it receives pollutants from the whole environment. It can be even excreta, getting into contact with, and the farmers are using it. But there are better ways, there are very good ways of handling this, and therefore the farmers can also get income from it.
Okay, let's talk about good way. How do we handle these? Water from, for instance, if you look at the North Industrial area of Accra, if you go into the drains around there, you find colored water running through them. You find all kinds of wastewater from homes and other places. How do we turn these into what you're talking about?
It depends upon the type of wastewater you are talking about. Let me, before answering this question, distinguish between, or actually define or explain what wastewater is about.
Right.
When we say wastewater, we are talking about water which is not needed anymore for its purpose. You have used this water, and then what comes out is not needed, unwanted water. But then we have two main types technically, or two main groups. You can have grey water. Now, grey water is water from the bathrooms, from the kitchens, from the industries that you talked about, and that one is one group. The other group is black water, and black water is made up of excreta, and then urine, flash water, and then anal cleansing materials, etc. So when you put these two together, you have wastewater.
Can you classify waste from hospitals under the black water? You know, these surgeries and some of the stuff they throw away, can we classify them under the black water you're talking about?
No. Black water, I'm talking about excreta, human excreta.
Okay.
But if it is from hospital, it depends where it's coming from. If it is coming from the sewer line, if it's coming from the toilet,
it can fall under
the black water.
The black water.
So it depends on where exactly it's coming from. If it is from maybe bathrooms, from the hospitals, yes, it's grey water.
I see. So these are the two types, and you said we can make use of them.
We can make good use of that.
How do we?
I'll give you examples. In Accra here, we have a waste stabilization pond system in Accra, specifically in Legon. What happens is that all the sewage water from the university, from the schools around, PRESEC, is channeled, all the waste is channeled into that system. The system is such that you have a number of ponds arranged in series, and as the sewage water goes through the ponds, it is treated. So it means that the water that comes out of that system is clean water.
I see.
Why don't we use that one for irrigation, for example? Because maybe downstream that system, you have vast land which can be used to cultivate crops. In that case, we can generate income from the use of this water for irrigation. If you go to India, for example, specifically a city called Kolkata, this treated wastewater is used to produce fish. In a year, they can produce about 18,000 tons of fish a year.
I see.
That's the valuable resource. And if we treat it as such, we are going to get a lot of income, and we'll actually be able to address most of our sanitation systems or sanitation problems in this particular country. Look, about 95% or more of wastewater treatment plants in this country are broken down. And if you ask why, there's no money for operation and maintenance.
So that accounts for why we're wasting wastewater.
Exactly. So we have to always be thinking about reuse. We reuse the waste and we get something out of it. Let me tell you this. My organization, which is the International Water Management Institute, in a
Institute talking to me about water and wastewater. Grateful for your morning with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, and New Day continues, and I will tell you more about what's coming up next. But first, let's take a quick break. We're back in a moment.
It's Talented Kids Season 8. We bring you performances from 23 of our best and brightest kids from across the country. Our contestants have to do more than go on stage and display their skills. They have to capture the crowd, woo the judges, and most of all, win the heart of the nation. Remember, there's a 10,000 Ghana Cedi cash prize and a 6,000 Ghana Cedi educational fund up for grabs for our eager competitors. Make a date with us this and every Sunday at 4 p.m. on TV3 and watch as our contestants show how worthy they are of the top prize. Talented Kids, free to play.
Talented Kids is brought to you by Heaven Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, Enapa Mackerel, Indomie, Cowbell, Our Milk, Mada Powdered Soap, Pepsodent, Blue Band Margarine, First Bank Financial Services, Royal Drinks, Jack and Jill Hussein, Diamond Baby Diapers, and Sandra Ice Cream.
TV3, first in news, best in entertainment.
The story of torn brothers fighting for family, for identity, and for love.
Rages of Love shows every Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on TV3.
I will do my daughter's farewell ritual.
By the way, that's a father's right.
What duties have you fulfilled as a father in 15 years that you're asking for rights?
Do you want to break the tradition?
You shattered my trust and ended our marriage. Can't I even break the tradition?
Dad, I have decided. You'll wear this for the rituals. This will match with mom's attire too.
It's lovely.
Divorce happens between husband and wife, not between parents.
Do Not Love Me So Much shows weekdays at 8 p.m. on TV3, and it's brought to you by Yamvita Onga, Malcolm, and supported by Unia 95.1 and 3FM 92.7 Accra.
Inazaki. Oh, no gangster above me. We have a common enemy. Your enemy is my enemy. Count me out. Don't talk for her. Don't speak for her either. Guys, stop. Fine, I'm out of here.
So, Azabu Pink, P-I-N-K, Bravo.
Never beat me. A beat me, coffee tree me. But I remember you tree me. I know some people they tree me before I tree you. I'm Copra John.
No, I'm Copra John. Together, John and John.
I Read shows on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. right here on TV3, and it's brought to you by Malcolm, where Ghana shops.
Bazen karanlığın içinde bir ışık.
A story about Azra and Karim. Love is all they have after they met in a sports academy and have been together ever since. But will this love hold when challenges set in the relationship? Love shows on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Don't miss it right here on TV3.
I was down
All right, so he's just basically singing the story of my life. Like, everything works out for my good. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how, you know, in whatever form or fashion it comes against me. In the long run, I just go back, you know, look back into time and realize it actually helped me. It actually promoted me. It actually favored me. All right, my guest this morning is Minister Joe Mettle, and you just saw him in the video. So turning around for my good. You're welcome.
Thank you.
What has turned around for your good? What's that one thing that happened to you in the past that you thought, oh my goodness, this is so dire, I can't get out of this? And then you look back and you realize it was amazing. You're so happy it actually happened to you. Is that one thing you remember?
I guess my whole life
Yeah.
has been that kind of way. Growing up, the way things were, initially I thought, okay, why is God doing this? Why is God doing that? Or why am I going through all the things that I'm going through with respect to my upbringing?
Yeah. Difficult challenges.
Yeah, but as I grew older and God started changing my life, I realized that all those times and the things that I learned during that time had a part to play in who He wanted me to be.
Yeah.
And so I just saw them just unfold. Like sometimes you come in contact with something and you've seen it before, and so it's like you already sort of like know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's how all these things turn out. Songs I learned in the past, I heard them, I would say I learned them against my will.
Yeah.
And today I get to sing them, and it's a blessing to people.
Yeah.
And that's how.
And this is key in the life of every Christian, really. I think that you should look forward to some mountain challenges. They are only stepping stones for your promotion.
The Bible puts it in the way in the book of Romans 8:28 that it says that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. The point is, whatever it is, when you get to that point, you need to ask yourself that what is God trying to do this time? It's working for your good. Sometimes it may look like it's against you, but in His own way and His own wisdom, He's using it to change things around you or influence things around you or improve your life. And so sometimes when you come in contact with these things, you need to ask yourself, what does God wants to say? What does God wants to do? What is He trying to change? What is He trying to affect with respect to this challenge or something? What does He want me to learn? It's one of the things that sometimes we overlook. Sometimes He's teaching us something and we don't want to.
But we let the pressures weigh us down too much.
Exactly, you're like very sad. I mean, you're human. You can't say you never be sad, but in the sadness and that whole situation, ask yourself, what does God want to teach me?
Yeah, fantastic. So I know you have nominations in 4 categories. The upcoming VGMAs. But you know, now when I'm speaking to gospel musicians like yourself about VGMAs, I'm very careful because not too long ago we heard about some kind of a rot in the award system in general, especially as far as gospel musicians are concerned. So any iota of truth in this? Some bribery allegations and all?
Myself?
No, not what. Have you been fingered? Were you named?
No.
Okay.
Nobody was actually named.
Okay.
It was just, they said gospel
But
music.
what's the issue?
I don't even know.
Okay. You didn't hear about it?
I did hear about the discussions and stuff, but I really, till today, I've not actually heard what exactly was said.
Okay, me too.
And
me too, I was wondering.
I mean, you've not done it. Once I know
so you can't be bothered,
really.
All right, let's talk about your general overview of gospel music in Ghana. Maybe we can do a quick comparison between what it was like, say, some 10 years ago and what it is like now. I like to say with all authority that I've played a cardinal role in fine-tuning the mindset of gospel musicians in Ghana. You know I have. Everyone knows I have. For so many years, I was drumming it home, you know, saying that you should stop singing about your pain and your sorrows. You know, they were singing lamentations, when instead you're supposed to do what you just did. Who you are in Christ Jesus, a new creation, what He's made you, etc., etc. Do a quick comparison. Don't you see? I think that now they're focusing a bit more on the word thanks to Moon. I mean, really.
I think like you said, even back in the day, there were people that still didn't lament. You know.
Of course. You get a one.
There were some that lamented. There were some that praised. There were some that spoke to direct needs of people, and so to me, I think that the gospel itself is a full package. Sometimes when you take others out as well, it doesn't. There are people who are strong enough to, I would say, always go straight to the praise point and that worship mood, irrespective of what they're going through.
But that should be the lifestyle.
Some too are supposed to be a form of prayer. There are songs that are prayer.
Yeah.
But
not beggarly prayers. It shouldn't be you asking God to, you know, come down from heaven wherever and come and, you know. He's giving you, this is my point. Look, let's teach the word as it is. All power and authority has been given to us now. We have the Holy Spirit indwelling. Yes. And so we have the authority to effect changes. And this is the problem. And if you keep praying such beggarly prayers, you find that you're gullible to all of these pastors.
Okay, so now you're preaching.
Yeah, well, but you know me.
So it's a
yeah.
I mean, people grow with time, and so
that's true.
We sometimes with prayer, I always say that
some people
you can't push them directly into a place where they've not. You need to help them get to that point. And so there are times that somebody will be praying a certain level of prayer, but with time, when they are thought that, okay, don't just cry on him and just lament, but this is who you are in Christ.
But that's a fascinating point you make. That's when you're taught.
Exactly.
It will take some of us to do the teaching, else people will keep staying at that immature level forever.
So you would have to share with the person, okay, this point would keep you there for too long.
Yeah.
But this is who you are in Christ. He's made you this. He's giving you authority.
Yeah.
And so as a child of the King, you need to stand in that authority and proclaim the things and confess them.
That's right.
And it will work for you. When the person gets to that light, it will change. But I think the challenge is sometimes the way we go about it. We end up rather pushing them away totally from God rather than helping them grow in God.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the whole thing.
Okay. Anyway, I also know that you've done some collaborations with some other musicians who may not necessarily be gospel. Do you have any? My producer just whispering something about
with who?
Collaborations with who? With who?
With who?
AJ, you said collaborations with who? Oh, it's a South African musician. Oh, okay, then that's gospel.
I did a collaboration with Ntokozo Mambo, currently Ntokozo Mbata. She's in South Africa.
Okay.
And then I did something too with Nathaniel Bassi.
Okay.
Who else have I done something with lately?
Okay, nothing with any secular musicians.
No.
Okay, what do you make of that though? Gospel musicians doing these collaborations with.
It's a personal decision.
If
you ask me, I think it's a personal decision.
Would you if you were approached?
My path may not necessarily permit me to.
Why? What is that path? What is your calling that's so different?
I'm more of a praise and worship person.
Yeah.
So
you can't praise and worship with Sarkodie, with Shatawale. You can't do praise and worship with them.
Like I said, it's a personal decision. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
It's just if I'm led to, but I'm not led to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not led to.
Yeah. Again, that's a super answer because you can't just wake up and take such decisions. You must be led by.
Maybe God, you can just be the God say, get up, do this. If it's a direction from Him, I will obey. But until then.
Yeah. Last I spoke to you, Danny Nete had passed, and you know we talked about, we eulogized a bit, and then talked about his funeral, etc. What is the industry like, you know, with his absence? Is there a void that can be filled?
We miss him. I think once in a while, I come to the point, I'm like, okay, something comes up and I quickly forget myself that he's not around at the moment. Because, like I said some time ago, I'll call him now as a Charlie, you know, we always had a way of going about these things. But I believe that he's gone, but he left a lot of people that he impacted into behind that are still carrying on the understanding that he had about God and worship and the things of God. He left a lot behind. I'm a product of the ministry of Danny, and so I can testify to that effect. Not only me, there are a lot out there. There's Denzel, there's Carvis, there's Teddy. There are lots that are coming very soon that you'll be amazed at what Danny.
That's good to know.
The legacy of Danny, and so he's gone, but he's not gone.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
So now that you mentioned these newbies, you know, I've taken a critical look at the the outlook of gospel music in Ghana now, especially when it comes to do with television. I take away the audio part, the content part, but what I see and how I see them do what they do. Maybe I should just pick your thoughts on this. I'm beginning to think that gospel musicians are perhaps losing focus. They're thinking more about their image, more about themselves and what they look like, instead of what they're supposed to be preaching about. After all, they're ministers. What's your view on that? What has come to your notice, your observation?
Like the way you describe. Normally, when you generalize it, then it's a problem.
Yeah.
There may be one or two.
You don't think...
Not all gospel musicians.
Of course, it can be. No,
exactly.
God forbid.
And like I said from the beginning...
No, but on the most part...
like I said from the beginning, some get to know the real path with time. Sometimes you enter and you are so excited about being an artist and all over the place. But with time, you would come to the place where you realize that it's actually bigger than just being an artist. It's gospel in its entirety, you know, everything Christ. And if what you do does not portray what Christ stands for, you will deal with the church, you would deal with the Christian community, it would shape you. And so
over time.
So sometimes when that's my point of the fact that sometimes depending on how we approach it, we lose the people rather than help them know the path.
So what's the best way to approach such people? I don't know if you're mentoring, mentoring already.
I am doing a few. I think that we need the whole Christian community. We need the leadership of the church to also help some of the people. Sometimes there are some that are, you know, pushed away rather than helped to know or given a bigger picture of what they are into. To sort of like I have had people who helped me. You know, once in a while you get a call from one man of God and says, "Be careful where you're going."
Right.
You know, and it helps me to know that that kind of thing. And so these are the things we need. We need them to be there for us. We need them to speak to us, not, you know, and we also as musicians, we need to have that spirit to receive correction. You know, when we're spoken to.
Another key point is to know what the motive is in the first place, because I'm not sure everyone comes into the industry with that intention to preach the gospel. There are those who may have ulterior motives.
The motive is there, but along the line, if you need to constantly remind yourself why you're in it. We're human, and there are times that you get exposed to things that you were not originally exposed to. And so if you don't
distractions in life that
if you don't handle it properly, you may miss your way or your reason for doing it. I was just sharing with one of my with my manager like a couple of days ago about Samuel, when Samuel anointed Saul. The Bible says that he anointed Saul. When he anointed Saul, then he gave Saul a directive of what the anointing was meant for. There was a reason God anointed Saul. He gave him a direct calling and a direct.
There are different ministerial offices.
Exactly.
Yes.
So after a while, Saul missed it. But Saul was supposed to constantly remind himself why he was anointed. There's a reason why God has called you to what you're doing.
I have to wrap up now. You're working on any single, any project?
Yeah, we have a single coming up soon. There's a lot going on, so we're still looking at how it works.
I see you do a lot of live recordings now.
Do you
plan these?
Yeah, they are events, you know, properly planned and properly executed.
Okay, so what's the latest now?
We have a new single coming up. There's a little what's the name of the song? That's the one trending.
He's gotten to that point where he's forgotten the number of songs he
has. There are so many, but I know they are blessing. That's what's been nominated for the VGMAs actually.
But there are 4 categories.
There's the Song of the Year. Songwriter of the Year. Then there's the Gospel Artist of the Year. Then there's the Male Vocalist of the Year. Then there's the Overall Artist of the Year. And so, but there are only 2 for.
Oh, you're looking at all 4. Well,
I need to be optimistic. But it's only 2 that are there for voting, which is the song Gospel Artist of the Year and Overall Artist.
I have to go now. How do I vote for you?
Overall Artist of the Year, you just text A4 to 1767. A4 to 1767. Gospel Artist of the Year, you text E1 to 1767.
How many times can I vote?
10 times per phone.
All right. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You know what the Bible says, iron sharpeneth iron. So I know I'm talking too much. Okay, so it's World Water Day today. And well, Awake Water, Awake Mineral Water is doing something absolutely fantastic this morning. They're distributing water for free in various environs in Accra. So Jason Amo, our broadcast journalist, is standing by somewhere at the Spintex Road, I think, to let us know, give us a live update of what's happening with Awake Mineral Water.
People have to walk several miles just to even get access to water. Today is World Water Day, and Awake Purified Drinking Water is sharing the best of purified drinking water on the market to most people for free. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So you've got your Awake drinking water. Is it something you drink all the time?
Yes, I drink it often. This is what I have over here.
Oh, so I already have a bottle.
As a country or individual?
Individual.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, we're still speaking to a few people. There are more people receiving the water. There are lots of people that as soon as the traffic stops, probably we'll get to a few people. Let me speak to the brains behind this business. Speaking to Chris, who happens to be the brand manager for Awake. How many bottles are you distributing?
We are distributing 50,000 bottles today to consumers, and we appreciate the fact that today is World Water Day. So, yeah, that's exactly what we are doing today.
2,000 cartons, I hear.
Yes, exactly so.
Okay. Clarence is also the international business manager for Awake, I believe.
Well,
for Casapreco. Exactly. So Casapreco is mainly known for its beverages. Where does Awake come into the equation?
You know that water forms most elements, the most biggest element in the body, and therefore we look at it in the sense that yes, okay, people need water out there. We need people to quench their thirst, refresh themselves with water. And in coming out with Awake, we decided to also tie it into charity. We also know that the heart is the most important organ in the body, and without the heart, the body will not be here, or we will not be surviving as human beings. And so we decided to partner with the cardio center, with Awake, to ensure that we share the proceeds with them, to save lives out there.
Okay. So now, with today being World Water Day, why did you decide to distribute water to the public?
Well, we want to also create the awareness, the importance of water, because first of all, portable water or accessible water, is not out there, and we are trying to also create awareness to let people know that yes, water is life. First of all, water is important. Awake is also here. We want people to know that we are not just selling water to refresh the body or ourselves, but then also to help save lives out there. So that is our little way, in celebrating World Water Day in Ghana here.
Okay. So, Chris, besides having every bit of bottle, I mean, whoever buys a bottle donates something to charity. Besides that, what makes Awake different from all the other drinking water on the market?
I think two things. I mean, it's the best, most purified water in Ghana. And number two as well, it is the only water in Ghana which actually donates its proceeds to charity. And as we are talking, currently we've donated 320K to 26 people that we've actually supported for them to go through some surgery at the Cardio Thoracic Center at Kolebu. So, of course, Casapreco as a company is trying to do its best by providing the best water and also helping and supporting consumers as well. Okay. Yeah.
But with also the issue of World Water Day, we're going on the theme of not wasting water. As a company and as a brand, what exactly does this mean, and what are you doing, besides just distributing water?
So, besides just distributing water, what we also are doing is that we're actually sensitizing people. This activity you are seeing here is not just happening here at Shiashi. We're also having some in Tema, in Kumasi, and in Takrade. And what we are telling people is that, look, we need to take care of the water that we have. Cleanliness is next to godliness. If water is gone, our life is just as bad as anything. So exactly, we are sensitizing people, and also we are educating them about the goodness of water.
Okay. Clarence, how do you source your water, and how would the activities that we all do that affect our water bodies, how the negative impact of on our rivers impact your business and also water generally?
Well, I'm happy you asked this question. We need to keep our water bodies clean. It's very key to the health of our nation, and then also to producers such as us. We do go through a lot of treatment process to ensure that we are giving nothing but quality in our water. We would encourage everybody near water bodies and water sources to ensure that we do not pollute our water bodies. Yeah, but then I can also assure the public that at Kasapreko we leave nothing to chance, and quality is indeed the hallmark of what we do, everything we do. Yeah.
Our work is just a little over a year old. Yes. Where are we going from here?
Watch the space.
Okay, so watch the space. If you haven't had your water yet, you might want to go out and grab a bottle of Awake. The most important thing is when you drink, you stay alive. They have the tagline, one for life. So always go.
All right, World Water Day. We're talking about wastewater. Moon, we're told that we simply can make use of water from our bathrooms, our offices, kitchens,
black water, grey water,
the toilets, and all that. We can make good use of it. We can simply turn them into something very, very useful. Yeah. And for me, that's the key thing, because a lot of it goes waste, particularly if you go around a crowd. A lot of the water running through drains can be turned into something big, particularly. But according to or some experts in that area, over 90% of the systems that will turn these into clean water for use are totally down. So it comes
in Ghana.
In Ghana here, particularly in Accra and other cities. So there's a lot to be done, but according to them, what the benefits will be will far outweigh whatever money we sink into getting the systems back. Yeah. So that's the focus of this year's celebration: water and waste water. Right.
All right. So that's
even in homes, if you remember, some time ago there was is it a biogas thing that turns your fecal matter from your home?
I visited the Apollonia biogas station years ago, and that's I think I was in primary school, and that's when we saw that you could actually use all of that to generate gas. I remember not long ago, well, some years ago, there was a boys' school, and they were old students, so they were trying to put monies together and buy the biogas equipment so they could generate gas from the excreta in school. And I thought that's a fantastic idea, because boys, I know, go to the loo a lot, so that's it.
The food will be cooked with gas from.
That was a brilliant idea. I think this is what all old students should do for their alma mater.
There's an interesting story where we're told that when you flush your loo, it can be recycled for use in other places. And
I wouldn't want to know, right? Like if that's what I'm using, if that's a recycled water I'm using, just don't tell me. I wouldn't want to know.
All right, it's been a wonderful Wednesday morning, and sure we have served you great breakfast. I think we have done that.
Breakfast? Well, I'm still famished this morning. So.
All right, but at least we have served our viewers
going to get some
breakfast.
wachi. Okay. That's it for the show this morning. Have a great day, and God bless you.